Okay, let's try and watch, probably as our final video for the day, Terrence, Popp, conspiracy theorist, Chud, MGTOW, all sorts of awful things. Probably dooming.
Alright everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. And today we're going to go over some of the craziness that has ensued over the past several years and what is picking up steam ever since the stunning and brave Totally Fair erection that we had in November. We all know
Hold on.
brave totally and what is picking up steam ever since the
Every time. Every single time. Na, 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 na.
stunning and brave Totally Fair erection that we had in November. We all know where this is going. There just needs to be that one large catalyst event that's going to kick this whole thing off.
Every time. He's chomping at the bit to murder some people. I'm telling you, we're gonna see a thing in the news in the next 2 years that this idiot has killed a bunch of people. It's gonna happen. I'm calling my shot. He's at 1.25 speed right now, so.
Right now, there are a lot of people who are really pissed, and they should be, because they've watched their country basically being stolen from them without even...
You lost an election. Fairly. Chill the F out.
a shot fired. Okay, and there are a lot of people in the middle who just want to say, fuck it, I just want the world to keep going. I don't care anymore. Just
He talks so slow. 1.5 speed is like normal.
move it along. Until that mass of people in the middle get negatively affected to the point where they get pissed off, probably not going to see a lot of movement. Okay, now I'm just going to go over some of the shit here that just popped up into, the top of my head over a lot of the past live streams we've done and lair videos that I've covered. I was going to do, one of my Prepper Pop videos for the lair, but I decided that we, just so you know exactly, from a bird's eye view, looking down exactly what's taking place here in the tapestry of this country.
The war on the West is no longer about men or women. It's about the ideological subversion of Western minds by foreign actors cloaked in a public relations friendly outfit called feminism.
Feminism is coming to turn your kids into communists. The horror.
Join the fight against the destabilization of our very civilization by reading Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism. Learn some inconvenient truths by clicking on the link in the description, because every time you do, a pansexual non-binary socialist cries.
All right, so number one here, with the election that took
Hype train. Nice.
place in November, listen, it's obvious to all that watched it that this was like blatantly rigged.
No, you lost because Donald Trump is one of the least popular presidents in modern history. Like, I get it. He's got a really big cult fan base. Like, millions and millions and millions of people voted for him. I get that. We're a very divided country right now. But he lost. He lost because he's a huge piece of shit. As it turns out, that's not a great political strategy long term. Who would have thought?
I watched the video from the My Pillow guy.
Oh no, he's also listening to Mike Pillow. Ooh, we're already at level 2 of the hype train.
All the evidence that, he covered it.
Evidence. Other people have debunked the Mike Pillow thing, so I don't know if I'm gonna at any point, but...
A large majority of it. I did see some of it myself firsthand, and it's quite shocking. And Biden put it right. He said it perfectly when he basically admitted they had put together the best election, fraud scheme. And
he's talking about the clip where Biden is talking about his anti-voter fraud team, and Biden's like, we've put together the best voter fraud team in the world, that being his anti-voter fraud team. And every single one of these idiots is like, they admitted it! They're a voter fraud team! They're an anti-voter fraud team, you idiots.
all of the history of the world. And he would be correct, because it happened at a lot of different levels. All right, now, they did this in plain sight. Okay, so what does that tell you? When something is done in plain sight, they no longer give a fuck if they get caught. Plain and simple. You no longer fear, justice or the law or anything. You can just do it, and nobody's going to do anything about it. All right? And why is that? Well, we saw that our judicial branch looks the other way, and they don't give a shit.
No. Everything was on the up and up, and also the lawsuits that came up didn't have standing. So as it turns out, if you're going to have legal conflicts, you should make sure that you're in the right, which you weren't.
Listen, when one state takes another state to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court says you don't have standing.
Yeah, they don't have standing because they were trying to dictate how another state ran their elections, which they're not allowed to do. It was pretty clearly explained in the statement by the Supreme Court. And also, tons of lawyers explaining it after the fact. And before, I think Legally Eagle even had a video before that actually went to the Supreme Court that said, like, this isn't going to work. You don't have standing to do this, so...
That's exactly what that is. And every motherfucker in the Supreme Court and all the federal judges, in my opinion, are traitors.
Many of them are Trump appointees.
Sold out a long time ago, and it doesn't look like they're going to change anytime soon. We now have the problem of lifelong politicians. Our stunning and brave president...
One of them was literally put in by Trump, like, months prior. Like, what? Frustrating. 15% of the level 3 hype train.
It's been there for 50 fucking years. And a lot of the problems we're having now, he actually implemented and supported during his crazy wazoo career in government. And until we change this, there's really not going to be a lot of movement on this, okay? And it's getting to the point where the only way you're going to be able to change it is very bad things that I really don't want to see happen, but my gut is telling me we're heading down this road.
Hold on.
Okay, change it. Is be a lot of movement on this in government. And until we change this...
Promotes terrorism. Implying people should murder federal judges. Jesus Christ. Batty Bell, thank you for gifting 10 subs to the community, getting us to 31% of the level 5 hype train.
There's really not going to be a lot of movement on this, okay? And it's getting to the point where the only
way... If the FBI doesn't already have a file on Terrence, they really need to get one.
Way you're going to be able to change it is very bad things that I really don't want to see happen, but my gut is telling me we're heading down this road. Okay, another thing, you have appointed positions that have way too much power. There's absolutely no way an appointee for the FBI should be able to challenge the president, challenge the Senate.
You're against checks and balances now? You think the Senate and the president should be above the law? Great.
Defy subpoenas, what have you. It is absolute horseshit. All right, and then...
Oh, God. Mr. Blast says this guy's got to be the dumbest moron in history. You're wonderful. I see why Baja is also so based.
It's not just the FBI. The CIA, it has its own goddamn army. Just so you know that. They have their own army and their own air force, which they use to mass effect in other countries. The NSA, they listen and record every single cell phone, transmission in this country.
Okay, and that was enabled by the Patriot Act that was pioneered by George W. Bush, who was a Republican, so...
They don't have enough people to go through it all, but they're doing it. You have the DEA, the ATF, and the IRS. The IRS has been weaponized against political adversaries in the past. I don't see that changing, okay, because the individuals who run all this are appointed, and they have way too much fucking power. This is a problem.
That's how it works. They're branches of the government that work and report to the executive branch, and they get appointed. That's how it works. Trump also had appointees in these positions.
All right, we have the President of the United States now living in a fortress surrounded by fences, barbed wire, armed guards, and a small army. So
yeah, because they keep getting attacked. The Capitol was attacked again, literally earlier this week. A guy drove a truck into the barrier and killed a cop, one of the DC police, and injured another.
So there's been
If lunatics would stop attacking the Capitol, they could stop doing it. That'd be great.
basically a call to have National Guard troops stationed there 24/7, 365 with no end in sight. You want to know who does shit like that? Who needs that?
People who are getting constant death threats from people like you? Probably.
This kind of shit around their president and
We're at 50% of the level 5 hype train with a minute and a half left.
so forth. Banana Republic countries do that. Communist countries do that.
Communism! Wrap it up, folks. He said the thing.
And it happened right before your very eyes. Just let that sink in. All right, you have media and big tech pushing straight propaganda, and they're all owned by 6 corporations. So you gotta ask some questions like, why the fuck are these 6 corporations doing this?
Oh, so now you have a problem with capitalism? Interesting.
Why are they pushing this propaganda?
Communism is bad, but so is the direct results of capitalism. All right, what's your solution? Oh, his solution is insurrection attempts. I remember now. 86% with a little under a minute left. We might actually get to level 5. We're very close.
All right, there's a lot of people out there who are absolute lazy idiots. You think you're real smart.
Like people who sit in their basement and make conspiracy videos for a living and are drunk the whole time. I know, those people are the worst.
But in the information age, if you don't educate yourself, you're a lazy idiot, and you're doing it by choice, okay? We've covered this in nauseum. How you can get a story, and it could be completely different from one set of individuals, media outlets, and then, be completely different.
We did it! Level 5! Thanks, everyone.
In another set of media outlets. Where's the one or 2 outlets that are just telling it how it is and allowing you to make your own decision?
AP. AP is a really good news source. A lot of other news sources actually just run with stories from the AP wire and investigate further. It's great. They just literally report the bare facts. There's as little editorializing as possible. Of course, there's always going to be some editorializing when you're writing out a story, but AP's really good for that.
They're almost non-existent now, and the only place you can find them is basically on Alt Tech and YouTube. And
the only unbiased news sources are clearly Newsmax, obviously.
Like small guys like me who don't really have any great following, so they just
Oh, Terrence thinks he's a truth teller. That's sad.
just ignore us, and that's the truth. I mean, you have Louder with Crowder. He covers everything.
We need more unbiased news sources like Steven Crowder. Oh.
Truthfully, and granted, he's a conservative, but listen, when he gives it a fair shake, and you don't get that from the liberal side or the propaganda side at all. All right, we now have in this country the FISA courts, which are a secret court issuing warrants that people can't even fucking see. This completely goes against the Constitution of the United States.
Again, Patriot Act, friend. Sorry. That's definitely... And to be fair, not only Republicans voted for the Patriot Act. Let me be clear about that. I think even Biden voted for it. The United States got really, really crazy after 9/11, and a bunch of people did really, really shitty things and voted for the Patriot Act. Just saying.
In every way, shape, and form. But nobody's doing anything about it. Hell, they even spied on Trump before he was elected. They were caught red-handed, issuing...
There's a reason this man's kids don't speak to him anymore and why his wife divorced him. Has he mentioned his kids don't speak to him anymore? If so, that's great. I'm very happy for them. And yeah, that's probably definitely why his wife divorced him.
Warrants based on something that was completely
He did? Good.
contrived and cooked up, and nobody's done shit about it. All right, that's where we are. Just covering this side of the board. It is absolutely fucked up. Moving over to the other board now. They're talking about doing away with the filibuster. All right, and they've actually passed this new election laws, which is basically guaranteeing
Fuck the filibuster. Nuke it from orbit.
the Democrats to never ever have to worry about being, voted out of power. They want to do some crazy ass shit. We're going to cover that. We also have the President of the United States issuing edicts, which are basically laws by executive order.
Because Trump signed no executive orders.
which are not supported by the Constitution of the
Oh, so I'm sure you were very against all of Trump's executive orders too, right?
United States. All of the governors, most of the governors in this country, put out lists of what was essential and what was not essential during this whole pandemic bullshit fiasco lie. Can someone...
There's another bannable thing. Hold on. There's a lot of report-worthy stuff in this video.
All of the governors, most of the governors in this country, put out lists of what was essential and what was not essential during this whole pandemic bullshit fiasco lie. Can somebody tell me where in the Constitution of the United States or any constitution of any of the states where the head executive has the power to tell you what you can and cannot do with your business, your money, and your motherfucking lives?
Sure. The part where you can make laws and then use those laws and enforce those laws. That'd be the one. Glad we could clear that up.
Where is that? It doesn't exist. They're going to raise the fucking taxes against an economy that they've allowed to...
Biden is going to raise taxes on people who make over $400,000 a year. I'm guessing that's not you, Terrence.
stagnate and die. There are millions of people out there who are months behind in rent and mortgages. Half of the small businesses out there are shut forever. The big businesses, the billion-dollar corporations who paid their fair share into the government, they weren't affected. But
yeah, it's not good. They need to do more stimulus checks and have it go from the bottom up instead of trying to pay top down. I agree.
those big billion-dollar corporations can't hire enough people to fill a gap of all of the small businesses out there. So now you're going to have crushingly high taxes, unemployed people, and then you're going to have all of these people who are basically without a place to live because of a pandemic basically served up to cause nothing but fear.
No, actually, hold on. U.S. COVID. We'll look at deaths and then we'll look at cases because both are relevant. We're at like 555,000 deaths, over 500,000, and 30 million cases. Those that survived are having severe issues still with their respiratory systems and other stuff, reducing their quality of life. This is like a tenth of the population, Terrence. This isn't nothing. 1 in 10 people caught this shit, and it's potentially going to wreak havoc on their quality of life for the rest of their life. Thanks.
If it was so deadly, the homeless populations across this entire nation would have been decimated.
Because homeless people hang out with so many other people?
Absolutely wiped out. Because diseases affect the elderly and the weak, and those at the bottom rung who can't get health care, who don't eat.
I would imagine a lot of homeless people probably have died of it too. I doubt there's many good statistics on it though, considering, you know, they're homeless, you die in the street somewhere, very sadly. Probably not going to get the best autopsy, let's say. They're probably just going to deal with it.
Eat properly, don't have shelter. Those things all lead to huge pandemic problems. They've been virtually untouched. Why is that? Because you've basically been fooled. It's a bunch of bullshit. I know I keep saying that, but it is. They want to push this new Green Deal. They've already shut down the pipeline and put like 100,000 oil workers and fossil fuel workers out of work.
Oh my god, hold on, I'll do that in a second. No, the people who were building the pipeline were contractors. So that job ended, and now they're going to go work on another job because that was always a temporary job for them. And then I think the actual number of people who were going to be permanent workers on the pipeline was very, very low. So it's fine, and it's also for the best, so that's good.
So we've seen gas prices go up a little bit over $1 since the election.
That's because, oh boy, gas prices were low for a variety of reasons over the past year and a half or so. Initially, at the beginning of 2020, there was some conflict, I think, between OPEC and Russia. So they were doing sort of a price war thing where they were driving down the price of oil to screw with each other. until they could come to some sort of agreement, and to my knowledge, that's been resolved, so they're putting the prices back up to market value, and probably above. But also, during the past year, people have been driving less, there's been less demand for gasoline, so the price has been down. I don't know if you know about this thing called supply and demand, but maybe take like a Econ 101 class and they'll explain it to you. So now that things are starting to open back up and people are going back to work in person and vaccines are a thing, the gas prices are going to go up because there's more demand for gas.
And I don't really see them going down. I'm envisioning them getting to $5 within a year, year and a half.
Like how they were under the Bush administration? I remember that.
And then slowly climbing until they reach right
And that was not even without inflation. It was $5 in some places.
around 10. $10 a gallon to drive your car. So all the people out there who have, a car that gets less than, 30 miles to the gallon are going to be forking out a large portion of cash just to buy gas. And you're going to see hyperinflation because 40% of our entire money supply has been printed in the past year.
Yes, which would be a Trump thing, right? Because Biden didn't get in until January 20th, right? So that would be the Fed and Trump, if you're concerned about that.
That's a lot of money floating around out there, and what is it going to do? It is going to destroy the value of the currency. So, you had $1.5 million in your 401k, but, you're forking out $2,000 a month to pay for gas and, $2,000 a month to pay.
If you have $1.5 million in your 401k and you want me to cry for you for literally any reason, you can suck a dick. You can suck a dick. You can suck a dick. Suck it. I have $1.5 million and now it's worth less. Okay, sorry.
Pay for food.
Now my $1.5 million is only worth $1 million. Okay, that's a lot of money. Good for you.
Utilities, another $2,000. Medical costs are going to go through the roof, and so is insurance. How long do you think your $1.5 million in your 401k is going to last?
Again, all of us here who just have $1.5 million sitting somewhere, very normal.
Not long. All right, so at the end of, when it's all said and done, you won't have money. Even if you had money, you couldn't afford it to feed your kids, heat your house, or go to work. Okay, that's the Green New Deal in a nutshell. It's basically they're backdooring communism.
Yes, I remember when Marx was like, hey, what if we transitioned to renewable energies and got electric cars? Okay.
Which has failed everywhere it was put in place. And all of you who say, no, we're just doing socialism or democratic socialism.
The Green New Deal isn't even that. It's literally just a government program to incentivize green energy and jobs in that sector. This has literally nothing to do with socialism or communism in any way, shape, or form.
Well, listen, socialism is basically communism for stupid people. It has failed everywhere it was implemented to the tune of hundreds of millions of lives between
Is he implying that communists are smart then? That's interesting.
1901 and 2000. In 100 years. We fought a world war over it.
Wait, what? We fought a world war... World War II wasn't about communism, Terrence. World War... The communists helped end World War II. Who do you think took Berlin? What? The ignorance is hurting me psychically. If this were Pokemon, I'd be taking psychic damage.
It is absolutely insane. They want to remove your guns. All right, now, historically speaking, after this is done, millions of people are killed because they can't defend themselves. Happened in Germany, happened in Russia, happened in China, Vietnam, Cambodia. Those are the top examples. Look them up for yourself. It's absolutely insane. And the only thing that is actually blocking a lot of this shit from happening at breakneck speed is the fact you have so many people in this country who are armed with weapons, okay? They want to get rid of the assault rifles because they can compete with the weapons of the army.
They literally can't, though. I hate this argument. I hate this argument. You could have a full auto machine gun Everyone in America could have a full auto machine gun, and it wouldn't matter a second if the government decided to start killing its citizens. The government has nuclear weapons, so have fun melting to death with your rifle you spent thousands of dollars on.
And in all honesty, the Founding Fathers put the Second Amendment into place because they knew that given enough time, every country and every government that has ever existed has gone off the rails. And it is up to the civilian population to put it in check and keep that from happening, or to stop it or reverse it. Those are facts, I'm just saying. Now here's some other things that they're trying to do here. They're shutting down fossil fuels, so just let
Good.
that sink in. The large majority of this country, their homes are heated with natural gas.
Again, which is why the Green New Deal incentivizes industries and people to change that and give subsidies in order to convert things whatever.
You drive your car, which runs on gas. Public transportation runs on gas. Airline.
It depends on the public transportation, I guess. There are certainly things that run on electricity. That's the entire point, Terrence, is the Green New Deal is trying to transition things over into renewables. That's the point? That's the point. You're literally illustrating the point.
Gas of some type. Okay, so what are you going to do to replace all that? All right, even if it runs on electricity, that electricity comes from coal-powered plants for a majority of it.
Again, which is why they want to build more renewables. For instance, between here and Baja's house, I drive back and forth for my electrolysis appointments and to see her. There's a big solar farm getting built. This is the point, is to transition away from stuff like coal power plants or natural gas power plants over to things like hydroelectric, solar farms, wind farms, nuclear, stuff like that. That's the point, is that you take what we have now and you transition away from that to a better solution that's better for us and the environment and our long-term survival. That's the point?
The wind and the solar, yeah, that's good, but it's not cutting it as of yet. Look at Texas. They want to push the new...
That happened because Texas officials have their power grid completely cut off from the rest of the country because they wanted to avoid federal regulations. For instance, winterizing your wind turbines, which they refused to do as a cost-cutting measure, and then when it came for the winter storm to happen, it fucked over a bunch of people in Texas because they were cheap assholes avoiding federal regulation. Fun.
meat option because of, methane gas and so forth. And
aren't there some wind farms out in the thumb? Yeah, there's a wind farm out somewhat close to my parents' house.
a lot of people are really going to get upset at that, especially when shit gets really expensive. Okay, I myself like to eat meat. I earned a place at the top of the food chain, and I...
Did you? Because your wife left you and your kids don't talk to you anymore. That's not very alpha of you, is it?
tend to enjoy it. Maybe I'll die sooner. So what, I don't care. I'm on the 65 and out plan anyway. All right. They want to try the forced vaccinations.
I've not seen a single politician actually say they're going to do any sort of forced vaccination thing. I wouldn't mind if they did. Mostly because I'd get so much content for this show, it would be beautiful. At best, I could see them doing some sort of tax incentive, like if you get vaccinated and have paperwork showing so, you'll get a rebate on your taxes or something the next year. But I don't think they'll literally do a mandate where you have to.
Okay, now if you are paying attention to the stats of the CDC, which I do, you will see that they are quietly going in there and fucking with the deaths of COVID.
No, they're not. That's a conspiracy theory.
Because the deaths of the people dying of the flu and actual viral pneumonia has gone way down, and they've been replaced with all of these COVID deaths.
People have less instances of the flu because people are social distancing and wearing masks, which is helpful for any airborne virus, you idiot.
Which they are now quietly reversing because it was nothing but a power grab, mainly fear. I myself, I caught the coof. I didn't even fucking know it. I didn't find out I had it.
Why is it always people like him who end up having, almost no symptoms? Seriously. Really? The universe isn't just.
Well, I did a physical, and they found out that I had the antibodies floating around in my bloodstream. A lot of people have that. Just saying. They want to remove the cash and go to some kind of digital kind of platform. Step out of line.
Who carries cash, you fucking boomer? Get a debit card.
or you piss somebody
Yeah, he could be lying too.
off, they turn off your fucking money. They're doing that in China right now, and are basically the Democrats and the liberals think it's a good idea. China was welding people into apartment buildings. Whole city blocks were starved to death. You don't hear any of that in the media. They don't want to talk about that, but that's what
The media is pretty anti-China, actually.
the Democrats and the liberals want to happen here in America. All
Like,
right.
all rhetoric about China I ever hear is negative things, which I'm not saying isn't, right, considering how shitty the Chinese government is, but, like, that's already the cultural narrative about China right now, so kind of weird.
They're pushing feminism. All right, now
Oh no, not feminism. Can't have women being allowed to make their own choices.
I could go on for an hour talking about this, but I'm just going to cover it quick. Your power lines put in place by men. Your gas
No woman has ever worked for a utility company. You can't prove otherwise.
lines put in place by men. Your sewer put in place by men.
No woman has ever worked for a sewer company. For the government, the municipal sewer people.
All of that is maintained by men. Who puts in your roads? Men.
I've literally seen female road workers.
Your bridges? Men. Who builds the buildings? Men. Who works the foundries? Men.
He's literally describing the effects of like slanted gender roles and then saying we don't need feminism. He's very confused.
Who works the mines to dig up the ore to go in the foundry, powered by the fuel, which is coal, to make that all work? Men. All right, this whole feminism bullshit is exactly what it is. Because a lot of these women buy into the lie when they're in their late teens. They live by this dogma until they're in their late 30s.
This goddamn dogma of women wanting to be able to choose what they want to do with their life. I liked it back in the day when they were considered property. Oh shit.
They turn off your fucking money. They're doing that in your bridges. It's not cutting it. So now a lot of these women buy into the lie when they're in their late teens. They live by this dogma until they're in their late 30s. And then they realize, wait a minute, I don't have any kids. I don't have any family. I have my career. Yay, but that's not cutting it.
Wait, do you think feminists don't get into relationships? What are you talking about? I think most people who self-identify as feminists are in relationships.
So now we have a whole rash of binge drinking, middle-aged, older women taking all kinds of head meds.
As opposed to Terrence, who is a middle-aged alcoholic man who's single, which is much better because he has a penis.
This data I keep using is 1 in 4. That's from 10 years ago. I bet you it's 1 in 3 now. And it's not getting any better. And then all of the measurements they do about happiness, women's happiness, it just keeps going down into the toilet.
Everyone's happiness is down. Economic inequality is the highest it's been since, like, before the Great Depression. People are miserable. Like, the government's shitty, society's shitty and stacked against most normal people. Things are bad, Terrence. You're certainly not helping the situation.
Their suicides are going up. Wait a minute, who else is unhappy and commits suicide en masse? Men. Well, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. It's a bunch of bullshit. All this is doing is weakening us here in the Western world. All right, they're removing God, and they've done a pretty good fucking job at it, too. You want to know who else rubbed out God? China and Russia.
Communism killed God.
China, if you're not using or practicing one of the state-sponsored religions at a state-sponsored area, you go to a concentration camp.
Yeah, that's terrible. Legitimately, it is. I think people should have the right to practice any or no religion that they want as long as they're not hurting people. Like, as long as, and when I say that, I'm not using some, like, oh, what does hurting people? No, literally, like, assaulting people or whatever, if it's a cult or something like that. People should be allowed to practice their religion. I agree. Authoritarianism is terrible.
A lot of those people are getting cut up for their organs. They're just disappearing. That is wronger than 2 boys fucking.
Whoa! That's not a saying people say, but okay.
Uyghur Muslims, they're getting gang raped. Their men are being killed. They're being forced to have kids to want to breed it out of them to get rid of them. And they're cutting them up for their organs.
What? Again, I don't know a ton about the concentration camps, but why would you, if you were trying to ethnically cleanse or genocide a group of people, why would you have them force bred, assaulted? What? Okay, whatever.
And Walt Disney just congratulated China on doing that. I'm done with Walt Disney until they do a huge turnaround. Until that point, they're not getting a second of my time or a cent of my money.
That's a shame. Falcon and the Winter Soldier's pretty good. And WandaVision.
They want to remove, there's a push to remove science and math because it's,
What can I say? I like my bread and circuses, folks.
it's white supremacy. When else in history did they rail against science and math and logic and reason? Oh, that's right, the fucking Dark Ages. When they're
Did you just say you think white supremacy is science? Uh-oh.
putting people in Iron Maidens and burning them at the fucking stake, quartering people, cutting them up, starving them to death, locking them away in prison forever based on nothing. Nothing. That's where we're going. They want to remove your cars because, we got to save the atmosphere and save the planet, despite the fact our climate has changed. It always has changed.
Not at the rate it currently is. You're entirely wrong about that one. We're already in a mass extinction event, Terrence.
And it will continue to do so. There's really nothing we can do about it. If we really are serious...
You're literally wrong. You're literally wrong. Anthropogenic climate change is an existential threat to human beings. That's scary, but you gotta live in reality, man.
About curbing any kind of greenhouse gases and stuff, they need to really crack down on China. Or better yet, wipe out 5 billion people from the planet. We can easily do that, but a lot of people will be very upset.
Ironic Giant, I agree with your sentiment.
They're talking about giving everyone a house. Where are those houses going to come from? Are you going to take them away from people who worked hard?
Terrence, there are more empty houses in the United States than there are homeless people. We literally already have more houses than we would need to do that, you stupid asshole.
To have multiple houses, to have income property. They had the discipline to save up money for the down payment, to do the sweat equity. You just take those houses away and give them to people who did shit?
Yes.
Who have no discipline? No, I'm sorry. That's bullshit.
Discipline. All homeless people lack discipline. There's no other reason anyone could go homeless, you absolute ass.
Shit. Again, backdoor for communism. They want to...
Communism is when you make sure there aren't homeless people.
Forgive all the student debt. I'm sorry. You guys are weak-willed, lazy bastards. And you bought into the lie of going to college because you thought you were going to get this great job when you got done. All right? You didn't do your cost-benefit analysis. That's not my fault. Why the fuck do I have to pay higher taxes because you're a lazy, ignorant fuck? Why? You know what's going to happen, right? You're going to tank this country, and then you're not going to be so happy that you did. All right, last but not least, reparations. All right, now I am not a fan of this whatsoever because nobody alive today was a slave, and nobody...
Okay, Terrence, the repercussions of slavery and the impact that it has had on the African American community did not stop the day that they were freed from slavery. I don't know if you know that.
alive today had any slaves. And if we start forking out all kinds of cash, who's going to fucking pay for that? Number one. Number two, when does it stop?
I don't know, we could start taxing corporations and the wealthy appropriately. That would be a good step one.
And then you're going to wind up, especially when you bankrupt this fucking country, not only are you going to wind up with bad shit, you're going to have people packing up, and you're going to have, race on race, and it's not going to be fucking pretty at all. Because historically speaking, white people are really good at organized violence.
Oh my god! Terrence is absolutely losing his mind. What the hell? Here's links. Here's links. Here's links. Links.
We've almost destroyed the earth twice. We've dominated it over, 200 or 300 years. It's not gonna go well.
He just basically said that white people are gonna murder all non-white people, and he thinks that's okay.
All right, and these idiots are asking for it. All right, this is where we're fucking going. All right, and guess what? It's gonna pick up steam and it's gonna go even faster. Especially when people can't feed themselves, they fuck with the money, they do some bullshit like that. It's gonna blow up in people's faces. I hope that doesn't happen, but my gut is telling me we're well on our way. Anyway, that's my rant for the evening. I will try not to do this that often. Keep it down to maybe once every 6 months as new bullshit comes to light, and we can all get pissed off together. Take it easy.
Wowzers. FBI, will you please do something? That would be awesome. That would be real good, actually. So that's a horrifying video from a future terrorist. Fun. Let's do some bit messages and then we'll call it a night.